A startup builds a viable product and passes the proof of concept phase, but as they scale, the clear value proposition is buried under a wall of buzzwords. Then, momentum stalls. The product remains excellent, but the market simply fails to understand why it matters. Inside the C-suite, the reflex is to diagnose this as a tactical failure, assuming the problem is a lack of reach. The immediate response is to turn up the volume. The company hires new agencies, launches fresh campaigns, and triples the advertising spend. But amplifying a confused message does not create clarity. It broadcasts the confusion to a larger audience, actively eroding the brand's credibility. A company can have abundant capital and a fully staffed marketing department, yet still fail if the market cannot decipher what it actually does. When growth flatlines after early success, the issue is rarely a lack of execution. It is a failure of internal narrative alignment. This specific diagnostic approach stems from the research of Lillian Raji, detailed in her Forbes column, The Pursuit of Luxury. As a fractional chief communications officer, she identifies the psychological and strategic blocks preventing high-stakes CEOs from articulating their true value. The luxury sector operates as a high-pressure laboratory for consumer psychology. In this environment, purchases are driven entirely by engineered emotion rather than pure utility. The margin for error is razor-thin. A single imprecise phrase or misaligned campaign can instantly destroy millions in potential revenue. From 2 decades in this space, Raji isolated a core thesis. Stalled momentum is never solved by shouting louder. It requires the seduction principle. To close the gap between a product's actual worth and the market's perception of it, a company must engineer desire rather than demand attention. The breakdown of a company's story usually begins at the executive level, in what Raji calls the version control wars. A single theoretical brand message fractures as soon as it hits different departments. The sales team alters the pitch, stripping away the long-term vision to focus entirely on immediate tactical benefits that close deals today. Meanwhile, the product team pushes a highly technical, feature-heavy narrative, prioritizing specifications over the customer's immersive needs. At the top, the CEO consistently rewrites the master deck late at night, injecting sweeping, visionary language that sounds impressive but lacks practical application. By the time this fragmented message reaches the market, it operates as a static-filled wave of contradictions. Caught in the middle is the chief marketing officer. Isolated and over-constrained, they are forced to manage dozens of disparate initiatives without a unified master strategy guiding them. This internal friction carries severe financial penalties. Narrative drift confuses the target audience, leading directly to a leaking sales pipeline and extended deal cycles. When the leadership team cannot agree on one story, the resulting blunt force marketing generates market confusion instead of market authority. The seduction principle is strict. You cannot force desire through volume. Instead, create an environment where the market naturally aligns with you.
The goal is to architect conditions where a stakeholder, whether an investor, partner, or customer, feels that moving toward the company is entirely their own idea. This requires avoiding the most expensive error a company can make, the hero misassignment. When a brand casts itself as the hero, it attempts to prove its worth by detailing every feature and capability. This comprehensive data dump simply overwhelms the audience. Casting the stakeholder as the hero requires severe strategic restraint. The brand speaks less, focusing entirely on demonstrating an understanding of the audience's specific problem. This relationship is governed by a strict mathematical equation. Visibility plus message plus specificity equals conversion. Visibility brings eyeballs, and specificity secures the decision. But the message is the exact variable where most companies fail, breaking the entire equation. Buying reach without an aligned, specific message is just financing noise. It alienates the exact stakeholders the company needs to attract. To correct a broken message, you must intervene upstream of the actual PR and marketing execution. This requires a 3-layered structural fix. It begins at the human layer. This involves diagnosing the psychological blocks of the founder or CEO, like a fear of irrelevance or confusing dense detail with intellectual depth. Until these internal blind spots are cleared, any attempt to engineer an authentic external communication strategy will fail. Next is the strategic layer. Here, leadership locks in a single master narrative, eliminating the internal debates that fragment the pitch. This stage establishes rigid decision guardrails, dictating exactly what the company will say and explicitly what it will not say. Finally, the execution layer. The locked strategy is translated into a strict operational playbook for the marketing team to run. This playbook serves as strategic air cover. It protects the marketing department from executive whiplash, ending the cycle of sudden midnight strategy pivots. Architecting these 3 layers replaces internal chaos with a durable, externally credible narrative, one that holds its shape under intense market pressure. When a C-suite finally stops arguing and aligns on a single arbitration-tested story, the entire operational dynamic shifts. The marketing department ceases to be a heavily scrutinized cost center. Equipped with a clear narrative, it becomes a high-velocity growth engine. Markets do not automatically reward the best product. They move towards whoever communicates their value the best. Lillian Raji resolves this exact organizational friction for scaling companies and established operators. Through fractional CMO advisory and brand clarity engagements, she provides the high-level strategic intervention required to align readership and build a functional communication infrastructure. If your executive team is currently trapped in version control wars, visit lillianraji.com to begin diagnosing your specific message gap. You can also read her comprehensive Forbes column to see exactly how premium brands engineer market desire and secure stakeholder confidence. Stop guessing your way through marketing. Align your leadership, clarify your value, and build a legacy narrative the market can finally understand.